behek, into the lab, or midst an area of control or responsibility, to enclose, like a bosom, a chest, place where secret thoughts are kept. However, in this case, heik is to fence, as to where to throw and condense, or out of the congregation to condense, what are to be the decisions and responsibilities to be distributed. Yutel, to cast, to deposit, to throw or toss with a light motion, to pitch over, to reel, to revolve quickly, repeatedly, and again, and again, and again, and again, and again. In this case, from tul, as to twist, or also to make knots, and to add and connect all subdivisions, and a perfect subdivision, don't think about 10, in this case is 12. A perfect subdivision to distribute responsibilities. Ethegoral, the lot, portion, or destiny. And that should sound a bell in your minds, because we already covered goral, a rough little pebble. And to refresh your memories, goral is to gather and ripen what has been added at your starts as bound, or yoked, or instructed. Therefore, don't make the decisions to be made very, very specific, but rather as rough as possible. Umei Yehovah, but from Yehovah. Yehovah, in this case, he would work to breathe after, to secure in the spirit. Usually is to reveal, but in this case, all decisions is actually in the spirit. And believe me, in the spirit there is so much power. We're all being led away from what our eyes see in the portions, but all is in the work on the spirit, which is very, very powerful, and is the truth. Kol mishpat, all judgment, or decisions by law. Law as determined by the Supreme Court of Yehovah, according to his divine plan. Mishpat, the laws that has been pressed and spoken with his mouth, what will be final, therefore of finality, judgment, or also to harvest. Before this verse is tov, pleasant, good, as to contain and secure in the tent. Erech, long, to lengthen, as with unity and authority, but to allow. And is connected with the next word, epayim, to anger, but also from ev. But think of it this way, and is connected, erech epayim, long to anger, or of gnosis. You may laugh, but consider it this way. Epayim would be the power for which the mouth has remained bent in humility, however in the working to the completed word. From ev as a verbal expression, blind consumption. Migibor, than the mighty, the strong, the ones who prevail. From gaver, to gather what has been ripened to build to the top. We are already noticing a very strange pattern here, because at times our ways of thought are working in worldly ways. This makes no sense, that it would be good to actually be long on anger than being mighty to gather and build to the top. Well, in this case it is, and is connected with the next few words. So let's proceed, and then we will wrap up on what is the true message behind what Yehovah is revealing in the Spirit. Umosheil, and have dominion to rule, from Mashel, with the might of his word to press, to bind, or instruct, or to press what has been bound or instructed. Berucho, his spirit, from Ruach, and subsequently from Riech, to breathe, as to perceive, to accept, to smell. Riech, as what comes to the head, and in the head Believe it or not, so many senses in the head. You have the ears for the sound, you have the nose for the smelling, to perceive the sense, the eyes for sight, the tongue for taste, but also the touch, and in addition, imagination. And therefore, out of all these senses, it is to work what has been set apart. Milocheid, than he that taketh, as from seizing, to capture by force, from lached, to bind a tame at the door, in this case could be of the mind, as to take or choose by lot, therefore forcing your way through. Ir, a city that is guarded by waking, wakey, or by a watch. Attention! Ir also representing excitement, anguish, or terror. Ir as a well, without boundaries, that has been thrown at your senses, or all at your starts, or what causes you to start. Therefore careful what triggers your actions. We notice that from the beginning, all responsibilities that are distributed, and all decisions, and even what you keep at your bosom, all secret thoughts that has been condensed. And they're all twisted together. It may seem all random, making no sense, but there is perfect subdivisions, as they are all connected together. If you ever have decisions to make them as rough as possible, because it is Yehova who has the final say on all this. He has already made the decision and secured in the Spirit, according to the Supreme Lord, who has connected everything, that it may be all of a mess in this world, but everything is connected together, no matter how random things are. Everything goes according to plan, because nothing breaks his laws, as he has pressed with his spoken mouth what would be the final decision. And consider this, that everything that is contained and secured in all God's tent, that is, all God's universe, they are very precious things that he looks on his beloved people, is that of long-suffering, erech epeyim. Remember this, because it is a very important fruit among of all the 9 fruits of the Spirit, as mentioned in Galatians 5. Erech epeyim is long-suffering. You may think of it of patience, but it's actually being long to anger. But we have just learned that is remaining unity in the authority as to allow, to prolong, not being based on blind consumption, but to remain on his power in humility, however to work towards the completed word. And Yehova is also long-suffering with us. And this is far better than the mighty, those who would be gathering and ripening to build to the top, however glorious he may be. This is a far more better fruit or attribute, or what you would pursue in life. ShemuEl, and also to have dominion, that with the word of what could be of his might, only to press as instructed, that his power would be revealed, but have your senses tuned. Is not only of what we read, but also in the sense, in the taste, in the touch. Jehovah has so many ways he can speak to us. He can speak through flowers. He can speak through the sounds of trees. He can speak with the waves of the sea, the wind that blows to your ears, even in the motion on the plants moved by the wind, and even the glorious, majestic sunsets and sunrises with all its multiple colors that we can perceive with our eyes. Therefore have your senses tuned, and always impressing on what Jehovah wants to reveal to you with his instruction. Have your whole body and senses tuned to him. And what a contrast it is that this is far more better than having to bind and having your own way in life, in choosing your own lot, out of all the excitement, out of all the anguish and all the terror that happens all around you, on all the world that makes no sense. It's all a mess. But haven't we learned before that it's Jehovah who has already connected everything together? Everything is a knot. But I can guarantee you that he takes a whole string and at the end of time says just, what? You cannot do this, but if you have a mess of string and you try to untie the knots by stretching the cord, I can guarantee you that you will make the knot far more knottier. But not Yehova, given that he is long-suffering. He waits all to the completed word, and give with his Spirit what we truly need in our senses to perceive his subtle messages, and also partake in all the unfolding of all these knots, and partake in his ultimate divine plan according to the decisions made at the Supreme Court of Yehova. And glory be to him, he has everything under control. Praises be to him, glory be to him, for he is the mastermind of all that goes behind the scenes in the Spirit. Don't be fooled by what you see with your mere eyes, or what you see around on the objects, or what the world tries to excite you about. It all comes according to plan on his word. Therefore dig on his word as much as you can, and learn what he has to tell in the Spirit to you every day. Tune your senses to his word. And believe me, don't be anguished by what happens around. Trust in the Lord. He is long-suffering for you. Only come to him and work hand in hand with him into the completion of his word. May he watch over you. May he guide your steps in the completion of his word in his beloved Son, that you may perceive Yehoshua everywhere you get a chance. He blesses those who are tuned to him. Amen. You tell et hegorol ume Yehova kol mishpato tov erech epeyim migibor umashel derucho milachei mai Dior. Woo!